back to CinemaCult. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And this episode, we are doing the 2009 Inglourious Basterds, not the OG Bastards. Which, did you guys see that one at all?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's fine. Yeah, it's like it's like a Italian. Isn't it? It was made in Italy, I think, and it's just like a kind of like your exploitation.
That's what I was going to ask you. Okay.
Fun action movie, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, we were just talking about before on the podcast about when me and Honto used to rent movies from Netflix, like the mail-in movies.
Yeah.
Ironically, Honto, that was one of them for me, was the original Inglourious Basterds.
So around that time, there was a video store that was opened up in the downtown area where we are. And I had rented it from that store. But then they closed shortly after because nobody was really into VHSs and
yeah. I actually remember the reason I got the mail-in Netflix. I remember you got the mail-in Netflix and then it came with the streaming. And I was like, I don't care about the streaming. I was like, I want the mail-in. And the reason I signed up for it was to get Toxic Avenger because I couldn't find it anywhere online.
Yeah.
And then I finally got it and I was like, all right.
This movie is
No, it wasn't Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was Class of Nukem High.
No, I ended up watching that on there, but the reason I got it was for Toxic Avenger.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
I thought we saw Toxic Avenger together like way back in the day on VHS. I remember seeing it on VHS.
Well, this was like right at the period when Netflix came out, and it was like you couldn't find things at Blockbuster because their stock was really limited, and they were kind of going away. So Netflix was kind of coming and taking over.
Well, it's what we talked about a couple weeks ago too on the episode. We talked about how like Blockbuster and Hollywood Video kind of got they were taken over by like all the new rentals. So like all their old stock was like slowly disappearing, and then you'd have like entire shelves of like 54 copies of
100
X.
100 copies of Titanic and
and it just kind of took over, and then it was like it got to the point where like with those two companies that you couldn't find any weird off movies like Inglourious Basterds that was like there on the shelf.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Toxic Avenger.
Like Toxic Avenger, because nobody was renting it, so they would like put it in their remember their used sale pile.
Oh yeah, you get like 5 for $20 or something like that.
Yeah, they would just stick them in there, and they'd be like, because nobody was renting them.
Yeah.
But there'd be like 30 copies. Like one movie would be like Taking a Pale Ham or something like that, and it was like 30 copies of that for $5.
Yeah,
I guess I'm gonna get
the John Travolta one, or
yeah. So. Okay, so Inglourious Basterds. We've all seen this. I think I've seen this. This is my second or third time. I haven't watched this. I'll tell you where I was at before I rewatched this. Lower tier Tarantino for me.
I remember
that's where I was at before I watched this.
Previous episode, you said it was bottom 3.
Yeah. Oh, good memory. Did you listen to it, or did you just remember that?
I did listen to it. I listened to all our episodes.
Yeah, I remember that because Honto. This is in the middle for Honto.
It's a middle 3. It's a middle 3.
A middle 3 for Honto.
But was I joking or was I not joking?
I have a feeling this is going to be in Honto's top 3. That's what I'm going to predict.
I did too. He's going to change it now just because you said that.
Yeah.
Is it the bottom 3 or the top 3?
He didn't watch it. That's what he's going to change it to. I forgot to watch it.
He's going to say, I'm going to guess right now. Number 1, Death Proof. Number 2, 4 Rooms. Number 3, his cameo. Dusk Till Dawn.
Or did I just find out today that this is directed by Quentin Tarantino?
Whoa!
I guess we'll find out.
I was gonna say,
sleeping?
I'm doing like a wink. I'm winking the entire time.
Okay. Yeah. Matt, you've seen this a couple times too, right?
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. Then I saw it again when it came out on Blu-ray, and this is the third time I've watched it. I did not like this movie the first time I saw it. I wasn't I was kind of like I don't know. I guess
I was kind of bored.
I wasn't quite what I expected the first time I watched it.
Yeah,
I think that's where I was too. I thought it was a movie about almost entirely about the bastards, and spoiler alert, it's not really.
Dude, right? Yeah. It's like going to I feel like a good double feature would be Inglourious Basterds and Beetlejuice because they're both in it for 15 minutes, and that's really it.
Yeah, because I think at the he's coming right off of I think Kill Bill Volume 2, right? And maybe Death Proof. But
Death Proof was right before this. Yeah.
Yeah, Death Proof is right before this. Yeah.
But yeah, when you like look at like revenge movie, I think he had just done Kill Bill Volume 2 and Death Proof. But in Kill Bill Volume 2, you know, it's like a revenge movie and it's following her entirely. So I thought, like, when I saw this movie that based off the trailers, I thought it was gonna be like following the bastards the entire time. But
I think everybody did.
Yeah. I even just listened to a podcast episode featuring one of the bastards, Paul Rust. And he's on that.
Oh, I was there too.
Yeah, I just re-listened to that episode and it was super awesome. But he was talking about how, like, from the concept, he thought it was going to be entirely about the bastards, but when they did like the script reading out loud with all the like the cast members, he was like surprised and caught off guard that it actually like really wasn't about the bastards, that they were just kind of sprinkled throughout the movie.
Dude,
Yeah,
I was
I
the same
tried
way
to, like-
with God.
No, I was like, I try to every once in a while, like when I watch this movie, I try to think of like, is there some kind of significance with the title to like what's going on in the movie?
Mm-hmm.
And it's confusing because the movie's titled Inglourious Basterds, and they're the bastards, so it's like, and they're not in it very much.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they talking about everybody in the movie, or are they just like the title about everybody in the movie, or just specifically just the bastards?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. It's kind of a tough. I'm still, you know, I guess I haven't really like thought about it. I've seen this movie a lot of times, so
Yeah.
I guess to this day I'm not really sure. I feel like it's just a good name for a movie.
I feel like that way too. And I know it's like it's misspelled too.
Yeah.
And it's probably misspelled because it's in a way it's like Tarantino's doing his own writing of his own version of history. So it's in a way he's like his own version of history, and he's spelling bastards in his own way.
I also feel like it's not to get mixed up with the 70s Inglourious.
I think it was more that. Yeah. I think it was just so it didn't.
Because the 70s version is spelled properly.
Yeah. I don't know.
So-
I've always thought that was just because he was kind of like taking over this chunk of history, and he's like, I'm going to rewrite history, and the title, I'm going to rewrite my own version of this title.
Right.
You know?
Gotcha.
But what were you going to say, Chris?
Oh, I can't remember at this point. So we will go to numbers. So what do you think the budget was for Inglourious Basterds? Matt, we'll start off with you in 3, 2, 1, go.
50 million.
Honto.
80 million.
70 million. So, which is about expected. I don't think that's anything like shocking. How much do you think it made domestically? Honto, we'll start off with you. 3, 2, 1, go.
170.
Matt?
120.
120. Yeah,
Really?
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, 120. Okay, and then worldwide.
I did.
You did it. Yeah, you did. I did it.
I'll say 200 million.
For the worldwide?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Okay.
is this domestic and foreign combined?
Yeah, worldwide.
200.
321.
Wow.
Wow.
Cool.
Yeah,
I know this
surprisingly,
is
a
his
little
most
bigger.
successful. It's his most successful movie to date.
Oh, is it?
Or it might, up until
I think Django
once-
might be his.
I don't know.
I
remember,
think
like,
Django's
to
his
the-
number one, but
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying at that point, like it was his most successful movie.
at the point, yeah.
Yeah.
So Rotten Tomatoes. What do we think it has? Honto, you go.
84.
Oh man, I was gonna say 85.
It is 89. So 89%.
That's a bingo.
Just say bingo.
All right, Honto, take us to the cast and crew, please.
Directed by Quentin Tarantino. I'm going to name his writing credits because we all know what he's directed. Natural Born Killers, From Dusk Till Dawn, and True Romance. We got Brad Pitt as Lieutenant Aldo Rain. True Romance, one of his first movies, if not his first, and then got his big break with Seven. Christoph Waltz as Colonel Hans Landa, Django Unchained, and Alita Battle Angel. Mélanie Laurent as Shoshana. Six Underground, which is that Netflix Michael Bay movie, and that magic movie Now You See Me with
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, Diane Kruger as Bridget von Hammersmark, National Treasure movies, and Wicker Park. Eli Roth.
Whoa, Wicker Park. I haven't thought about that one in a while.
I've never seen that movie. Is that a murder mystery movie?
Yeah, it's not a bad, like, it's nothing amazing or anything, but it's like the cast is Josh Hartnett and Matthew Lillard. I mean, it's Matthew Lillard, so it gets a definite watch, in my book. But
what I was thinking about the other day was SLC Punk. I was like, man, like, I remember that movie being really good. I haven't seen that movie in like 15 plus years, probably.
I don't think I've ever seen it other than the scene that should be taught in classes, in school for the DARE program.
Yeah.
Teach people not to take Advil and drink beer.
That's not what happens.
No, but that's one of those movies I really want to watch, and it's MIA on Blu-ray, right, Chris?
Yeah, I found my DVD copy. Even like DVD is like $45.
Oh my god!
So luckily, I was able to find my DVD and
nice.
Enjoy Matthew Lillard every day of my life.
Cool.
Conte, go ahead.
We got Eli Roth, Sergeant Donnie Donowitz. He's best known as a horror director, Cabin Fever, Hostel 1 and 2, and Thanksgiving. We got
He's returning to the podcast.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're correct. Green Inferno and Knock Knock, a double feature that we did.
The only time we did a double feature. Yeah.
It was tough. It was really tough.
I don't know why we did one episode. It's probably like a 4-hour episode.
It was pretty long, yeah.
But I recently rewatched both those movies, and I still stand by Green Inferno is okay. I think it's decent. It's fine.
I don't think I'll ever watch that movie ever again.
But Knock Knock's solid. I think it's a pretty good movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But go ahead, continue.
Michael Fassbender, Prometheus, and Alien Covenant. And then we got
is this his first movie?
No, he's actually he popped up in 300 as one of the Spartans.
Really?
His first movie was back in like 2000. But yeah, just kind of like lower unknown.
Is this what he got known for though?
I feel like 300 was the one because he's actually in a good chunk. And then Inglourious Basterds would be like the second. And then I think there's a movie called Eden Lake that I remember seeing about. Always pops up. I feel like I've always seen it in the cover, but it's a horror movie, and I think he's in that too.
Oh, the one with Judd Nelson, where they're at the cabin.
Oh no, I know what you're talking about.
USA original. I know
Characters
what you're
Welcome.
about.
Yeah, the Characters Welcome.
Fun trivia. Originally, Tarantino wanted Simon Pegg to play this part.
Pegg? Who's Pegg? Simon Pegg?
Simon Pegg. You're Ethan's bad.
No, I think I think you're mistaken. I thought he was supposed to play the Mike Myers role.
No. Simon Pegg was supposed to play the Fassbender role.
That's interesting.
And he couldn't do it
because they talked about it on that podcast episode.
Did they? Okay, because the trivia forever I've always seen it on, and I just found it recently was that Simon Pegg was supposed to play the Fassbender part. Now,
did you go to IMDb trivia for that or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every time, dude.
Can't trust it.
So speaking of different roles in this, I remember back in the day, Adam Sandler was supposed to play Bear Jew. Is that correct?
Yeah, Donnie Donowitz.
Yep.
He was. Okay.
And then at one point it was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone were going to be in this movie. It was going to be an Inglourious. Yeah, that's what it was like way back before like I even think it got a title. It was that's like, crazy. Yeah, he wants to make a war movie with all the big action stars.
It's been awesome. Yeah.
And then they made Expendables.
Yeah, but it's also the like kind of that Tarantino trivia that kind of floats around where Tarantino will say like one thing and he'll be like, yeah, I've got an idea for a Friday the 13th movie. And it'll be like, Tarantino's making a Friday the 13th movie.
Or they talked about the Vega brothers for Vic and Vincent Vega from
that was
Reservoir
a big
Dogs
one for a
and
while.
Pulp Fiction. And it was going to be John Travolta and Michael Madsen.
Michael Jackson. Yeah.
They beat him to it.
But and like Kill Bill 3 or whatever. It
was supposed to be Vivica A. Fox's daughter.
Yeah, like her.
He still talks about that. He brought that up again, saying that might be his last movie.
I don't believe anything he ever says. Until
I hope not.
Nah, I'm done with that story.
Yeah, I got 2 Kill Bill movies, and I think that was like enough. I don't like if he's gonna go out, and I know he says like his high note was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and anything he makes afterwards is gonna be like a prologue.
Okay.
or an epilogue. Sorry, an epilogue.
Okay.
So he knows that like whatever he makes last isn't going to be his best movie. So he's like fine with that. But I don't know. I don't want to see a Kill Bill Volume 3. I'm just saying like he knows it's not going to be like a big like he's not going to make it a big deal. You know, it's not going to be this giant epic. It might just be kind of something a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
If anything, I feel like he should return to the LA crime world again and just do one final hurrah with
instead of like a period piece / like retelling of history, basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, continue on with the cast. We got Daniel Bruhl as for some reason I forgot to put his name down, but he's the was it Friedrich Zoller, the sniper?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Friedrich Zoller. He popped up recently in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and he's awesome in it. And he also pops up in a movie called Rush, which is about 2 race car drivers, and then a movie that I saw a long time ago that I first saw him in was Goodbye Lenin. Then we got August Diehl as Major Hellstrom, who's the Nazi that's in the bar scene, who's like playing the card game with everybody.
Okay.
A Hidden Life, he was recently in that, which is a Terrence Malick movie. And then we have Mike Myers as General Ed Fennick, Wayne's World 1 and 2, and the Austin Powers movies. Now tell me this. Do you want me to do my connection to the movie?
I feel like this one's too easy.
I made it purposefully not easy.
Okay, so for people who haven't heard this yet, Honto has a new game that he plays where he tries to connect any movie that we watched to Dusk Till Dawn 3, Hangman's Daughter. You've probably heard of it. So
very, very well-known movie.
A big one. It's a big one.
So we do our 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but Honto connects Dusk Till Dawn 3 to whatever we're watching this.
So
week.
I'm trying to like not go as obvious. I'm trying to pick like maybe the last person.
What's the obvious one? We'll go with the obvious one first.
Well, it would be like literally just Brad Pitt to Rebecca Gayheart in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Duh. Yeah.
So Mike Myers to John Cleese, Shrek 2. John Cleese to Pierce Brosnan in I can't remember which Bond movie, but it's a Bond movie. Pierce Brosnan to Alan Cumming, Goldeneye. Alan Cumming to Rachel Lee Cook, Josie and the Pussycats. Rachel Lee Cook to Marco Leonardi in Texas Rangers. I wanted to bring that up again. And then Marco Leonardi to from Dusk Till Dawn, The Hangman's Daughter.
Okay.
There you go.
So let's go ahead and break into this movie. I want to go through this by chapters. I feel like it'd be easier to break down that way.
Oh, okay.
Because then, I mean, it almost feels like, I don't want to get into a huge discussion on it.
I think we'll figure out how to intersect to talk about how it connects to other stories. But yeah, I think going story by story is probably the easiest.
Because it's it's a weird, like, I haven't seen this movie in probably maybe 10 years, but it's definitely like laid out like Pulp Fiction, where it's separate stories but they connect, but it's also kind of an anthology, kind of. I don't know. He's got a lot of different things in here, and it works so well.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, too, this is like the first time in I think any of his movies, except Death Proof.
Plays out in
Never
order.
mind. Yeah, it plays out in order. There's no like there's flashbacks like where they're real quick, but there's not like entire scenes that are flashbacks. So it's a pretty much in order movie.
They're really the only person they do flashbacks for are Hugo Stiglitz. Is when they cut back to like who he is, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, they do it with Shoshana.
Speaking of SLC Punk,
why is Till Schweiger or Schweikert in that movie?
Yeah. Well, how did we start talking about SLC Punk earlier? How'd that get brought up?
DVDs, Netflix.
Matthew. Yeah, you talking about Matthew Lillard.
Yeah, he is. He's like the drug dealer in SLC Punk.
Yeah.
And he's actually his role is insane, and he's totally worth watching in that.
I vaguely remember this guy. Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, because they had this whole joke where they're like, "Yeah, we want to go see him to buy drugs." But the thing is, every time you go see him, he wants to show you everything he's bought. So it like cuts to him, and he's like holding a laser disc, and he's like, "There's a movie on this." And then they're like, "Okay," and he's showing like a shower. He's like, "It has 3 settings," and they're like, "Cool," and then like it cuts to everything.
Nice.
But yeah, as far as the flashbacks, his is really the only one they do.
Yeah, and they do Shoshana later on. I think when it shows her remembering Hans Landa in the restaurant. Like
and
Yeah, they introduce her and then cuts
And
back.
they do it with the Bastards though. Like the whole Bastards segment is like there's like little flashbacks here and there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's not traditional out of order Tarantino type stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, so we'll go through the first chapter. So you're gonna have to help me start off on this one because the first chapter is called Once Upon a Time in Nazi occupied France.
Mhm.
What's this first chapter about? I mean, even just like starting off.
It's establishing Colonel Hans Landa as the Jew hunter.
Oh yeah, I was sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I remember.
I was just gonna say it just establishes who he is and then who Shoshana is. She escapes from the house, and then she's basically, in a way, kind of like the main character of this movie.
She has my most interest throughout the whole thing. Like, I mean,
she's great.
Brad Pitt's great, Roth's great, and everything. But her story is the one I'm most interested in because this whole first chapter, I mean, I'm sure people who are listening have watched it, but it's basically this guy who's hiding Jewish people under his like house from the Nazis, and it's this whole conversation between this guy and
it's like really intense.
Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, it's Christoph Waltz.
Yeah,
but it's like so well done and intense because like you don't really know the purpose of the visit, and it's like a 20-minute scene of like just conversation and build up, and you realize like that he knows that he's hiding people underneath the floorboards.
Yeah.
And then when you make that connection, it goes like underneath the floor and you see him hiding.
This is one of several scenes in this movie where somebody is trying to keep something a secret and the person they're talking to knows it already.
Yeah.
And basically is kind of like messing with them throughout the dialogue scene. Because we have this same scene is repeated in the bar.
And it's literally a basement. It's underneath,
He knows Michael Fassbender's not a Nazi. And then we do this again later on in the end of the movie with Christoph Waltz when he knows Brad Pitt's not Italian.
Well, and also he catches on that Bridget von Hammersmark was in the basement. He knows about that too. And then you got also go ahead.
They what I'm saying is that they like the person who they're trying to keep a secret and they're trying to hide their identities, but the person they're talking to already knows.
Yeah.
Like, and it's basically you're just kind of watching them punch holes in their story throughout the dialogue scene.
And it's also questionable if Hans Landa knows that he's talking to Shoshana in that restaurant because he's like hints several times, even though he doesn't act on it. He hints several times throughout, like bringing her a glass of milk,
Yeah.
And then like just small little details, but then he just kind of like lets her go on her way pretty much.
Dude, in that scene at the end when he was like Christoph Waltz stands up and he's like, judging from our interaction, they probably don't understand English, and he nods and he's like, all right, and he
Bring
starts
your daughters
talking.
in.
Yeah, and he acts like, come on in, girls, or whatever, and then like the soldiers are coming in. Like, it's a real like intense scene. And I will say the only thing, I don't think it's goofy, but I've never seen it just looks odd, I guess, is the way the floor is being shot, not like camera wise, but with the bullets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it reminds me of, but it's almost.
I thought you were literally going to say what was out of place was Hans Landa's gigantic pipe that he smokes.
Is it supposed to be funny? Because it is funny.
Oh yeah, it's totally supposed to be like it's a Sherlock Holmes pipe, and it's like it's basically just saying.
Oh, he's like a detective.
Yeah, he's like, I got you,
dude. That's awesome.
Why I
didn't even I did not even think about that.
It's like he totally is like, my dick is bigger than yours, because the guy smokes his little cob pipe.
Yeah,
and he takes it out, and it's like,
and
basically, it's like, I've got you. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know what you're doing.
And like the entire time, was it like the farmer? He's acting all like cool, like, oh yeah, I got this. He does his little prepping with washing his face, and you like think he's got it, like he's protecting them. He's gonna get away scot-free. And then Hans Landa like knows immediately, which is
well, I had a theory with him washing his face was that, and this is probably not it, but the reason I thought he put water on his face, so if he started sweating, then
that's actually not bad. That's actually not bad. Yeah.
It's probably not it, but
No,
it's a
I
cool
think
twist.
that's really cool, actually. Chris. I like
completely
that.
reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
I would say this
All right.
is like this scene is probably I would do if I could do like a top 3 Tarantino written scenes.
Dude,
This would be in that top 3 for sure.
Really?
it's
Next
excellent.
to like the Dennis Hopper True Romance scene
Oh my
with Christopher
God.
Walken.
Yeah.
And then probably this is a random one that's just coming to my mind. Is the opening to From Dusk Till Dawn. I love like the sheriff that goes in
Michael Parks.
and he basically tells the clerk everything about the Gecko brothers. And then all of a sudden he's like, I'm going to the bathroom, and then you find out the Gecko brothers are there. And I think it's such
a cool reveal.
Like it's a cool reveal. Like to get you to like figure out who these characters are, to know who these characters are, and then to reveal them that way is a really cool scene. So that'd be like my top 3 Tarantino scenes.
That's pretty good. So this whole thing goes down, and this family gets killed, and then this girl gets away. What's a short name that we can reference her as?
Just Shoshana. I mean, Shoshana.
Shoshana. Okay.
Yeah.
So Shoshana gets away, and we'll come back to her later on. So we go to chapter 2, and as we go to chapter 2, I do want to bring up real quick, and I still stand by this. I remember I stood by it back in the day. One of my least favorite Tarantino soundtracks.
Oh, I like this a lot. This is
really
good. Yeah, it's good. This is like this is completely filled with Ennio Morricone, which is like my jam. And I like it a lot.
And it's good, but I feel like one thing that I don't like about the past couple Tarantino's, actually, I take it back. Hollywood, he brought it back again. But he made these great mixtapes. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he started doing period pieces, and Inglourious Basterds has like 2 or 3 tracks on
there's
it.
Like a
and
David
then Django.
Bowie.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is he made such, like, the thing about like Jackie Brown and Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, is they have awesome music in it.
Yeah.
And that's my only downfall for this movie. Is
it's like soundtracks that fit the theme and genre of the movie and even the time, kind of. But then like with this, this, and especially like Django Unchained, when it like cuts so full on like rap song, when Django's in that shootout, so like it feels kind of out of place, but like I let it slide. I let it slide. The Django one's super cool. It's super awesome.
Yeah. Well, actually, not that I don't want to jump into it, but even though I say that, the Bowie scene is the best scene in the movie for me.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I think it's the best part of the whole movie. But to go to chapter 2, we get our introduction to the Bastards. The chapter's called Inglourious Basterds. And we meet Brad Pitt, who's the leader of the Bastards, Brad Pitt is amazing. Okay, so Brad Pitt's good in this. He's amazing in Hollywood. But watching him in this is hysterical, man. His one-liners.
Yeah, he's great.
Dude, he kills it in this. It's so good. And this whole Inglourious Basterds scene is it just them at the I don't know what it's considered.
It's probably like
by the tunnel.
No, I actually think I don't know if they're in Europe yet. I feel like they're at like the training base before they even like go out to go infiltrate.
Well, no, because this whole chapter is pretty much them.
Yeah, but I think this part specifically is them in US still, and then it hard cuts, months or whatever
you're talking at the very beginning. Okay, yeah, but like the majority of it's like this one scene, and like it's like I think it's like a tunnel, whatever it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just in the middle of the woods, basically. Maybe like a bunker or something.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, after they have like this kind of like speech to introduce the characters in America, we cut to this, and basically they've killed a majority of the Nazis that they've run into, and they only have left a few alive.
Yeah,
and
we saw one of them. I think we saw this guy in Whorehound.
Which guy? The guy that gets killed with the bat?
Yeah, we saw him because I think he's in that show, The Strain.
Yes.
Yeah, we saw him at a panel because it was the same year that we saw. I think it was the same year that we saw X-Files, the X-Files panel.
Okay, he does. I've never watched it, but he still looks familiar to me, but I've never seen that show.
Yeah.
Maybe I saw him in the bathroom, and that's where I know you from, the bathroom.
Oh, yeah.
So this is actually, I'm a big Eli Roth fan. I just think he's got a lot of charisma, and I just think he's a cool dude. But his whole scene where they're like building him up when the Nazi won't talk, and Eli Roth is like hitting the bat in the tunnel, and he's like slowly walking out. It's such a cool reveal.
I think what's cool about this character, especially like in the previous scene where they're doing like you're gonna kill me 100 Nazis and get me their scalps, basically. It cuts to Eli Roth during that thing, and he's got this like smirk or this smile, like I'm going to enjoy this, Yeah, it's cool because like, him being a horror director, you're like, oh yeah, of course the horror director is going to enjoy the violence, basically.
Right.
And even this part where he like basically beats the ever living hell out of this Nazi, you're just like, oh my God, like this dude is like crazy.
It's a brutal scene.
I wish he didn't talk in this movie though.
Oh, that's the best part. That's what I like about it.
The baseball.
Knock it out of the park. A lot of the lines he says, like it like doesn't fit him for some reason.
That's why I almost like it.
Like
because he's like he comes out of that tunnel and he's like quiet and he's like menacing and he does this thing and all of a sudden he's like, knock it out of the park. And he's like running around and he is. And it does. It doesn't fit this like silent beast.
Two hits, me hitting you, you hitting the ground.
Yeah, it's a little like, and honestly, here's something that we're missing from the movie. A huge chunk of his backstory was filmed and not in the movie.
Oh man, it would be awesome to see like a flashback, like what they do with Hugo Stiglitz, like do a flashback. It was
bigger than that. It was bigger than that.
I would
like it was a few chunk scenes of him in New York City, purchasing the bat. And then he goes around and like, because with the names that are supposed to be on the bat, because you never see a real close up of the bat in the movie.
Okay.
But the names of the bat are all like Jewish people. And a lot of them are Jewish people from the Bronx, from where he's from. And in one scene, he gets the bat carved by
Ben Stiller.
No. There's an actress that he gets it carved by, and I can't remember her. I can't remember who it is, but there's an actress that was like in it that her scenes weren't used in the movie. So yeah, I want to, because there's a good chunk of stuff that's missing from the actual end of the movie, or from the final product of the movie. And
yeah, you've told me that before. There was like an hour or something missing, correct?
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's an hour. I know it's a good like chunk of scenes.
Yeah.
I know there's like there's some bastard scenes that never made it.
Okay.
I remember in the trailer there was one with one of the bastards who doesn't get a lot of screen time. You'd recognize him if you saw him, but it was him running down a tunnel and he was like shooting a machine gun.
It's what's his name from Freaks and Geeks?
Freaks and Geeks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like that scene was not in the movie anywhere. So
I don't remember that.
Apparently, in that interview with Paul Rust, who plays one of the bastards, he talked about how during the filming of that scene, Quentin Tarantino said, like, let's just go crazy because I just want to film a lot of stuff for this scene. But it must have just gotten cut like by the studio or whatever. But I think it would be awesome if they came out with that Hateful Eight-esque, cut, that 3-hour or 4-hour cut of this movie, because I would like to see more backstory of some of these characters.
Well, I would too, and especially after watching it again, like I couldn't get through Hateful Eight.
Oh man, I love that movie.
That would be my least favorite Tarantino, because I've tried to watch it twice and I can't get through it.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. But so I think the rest of the scene, though, I mean, I don't want to like jump through it, but like it's pretty much this scene, correct? I mean,
yeah, basically what it leads to, or what leads into this, is basically, Hitler is like complaining that the bastards are throwing a wrench into their cog, basically, and then there's a so-called survivor of the bastards, and they find out that he's got a marking on a Nazi symbol marked on his forehead, basically. And so that's how you get into the scene, is you're seeing how that guy essentially got the carving, and spoiler, he's the only one that is left alive.
Actually, yeah.
So we got like basically a natural born killers kind of situation here.
Is this what happened? Because I've never seen Natural Born Killers.
Oh, because that's what they do. They kill people and they always leave one person behind so they can tell the story.
Okay. Okay.
That actress, though,
that's true.
Okay, the actress that acted in the scene with Eli Roth and the cut footage that was supposed to take place in New York was Cloris Leachman.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. So
nice.
Her stuff was cut from the movie.
Oh man, that would have been awesome.
Yeah. I want to say there's stills of it somewhere, but I know Arrow Video is supposed to be releasing this on Blu-ray.
Okay.
And they've hinted at it now for how many years, Chris?
It's been a couple of years, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we get like that edited. I'm with you. I would love like an extended cut of this movie. And I know we talked about this. We were supposed to get one of Django and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
But sometimes I feel like not having it is still just as good as like, I mean, this movie's already 2.5 hours, and I feel like it's a good runtime. I don't want it to be 3 hours and 15 minutes, you know?
I guess from my perspective, I feel like Quentin Tarantino films stuff with a purpose. And if there's purpose, like with, this backstory of how he gets the bat, like I would like to see that on screen.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of Eli Roth's character and like what he was doing in the Bronx.
Yeah. Oh no, you're wrong. I want to see it too, but I'd rather see it as like a deleted scene as opposed to watch the 6.5 hour cut of Inglourious Basterds.
I'll watch every 6.5 hour cut of Tarantino's work.
I don't know, man.
So
I don't know.
Let me ask you then, okay, because we talked about him only doing 10 movies, right? He's capping it at 10 movies. Do you guys see him doing a TV show? Like, because he could still do that. Like, he could get away with doing a 10-hour TV show.
He's slated to do a TV show called Bounty Law, which is based off of the Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. There were supposed to be 4 episodes they were supposed to make for Netflix.
Yeah, so that's what
he. In the words of Honto, I'll believe it when I see it.
It's very true. It's like, because for the longest time on IMDb, he always had works of like the Vega brothers, or like whatever. So it's just like, if there's a preview for it, then I'll believe it,
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as him doing TV, I mean, I can see him directing episodes, but I don't think he'll ever do like a mini series or anything like that, or an HBO Saturday movie or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into this next chapter, because there's only 5 chapters, I make it sound like it's really short. So I found this video today, and I'll send it to you here soon. It's Ice Cube, and it's him talking to the camera. And
what the hell does this have to do? Go ahead.
Because we were talking about cuts. We were just talking about cuts of movies. This is a perfect segue.
Okay. All right. I'll get. You know what? I will give you this then.
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't know what this is, but
completely
So
out of
it's
left
Ice
field,
Cube, and he's like looking into the camera like this, and he's like, Warner Brothers, AT&T. He's like, please release the Joel Schumacher cut of Batman Forever. He's like, the people want it. We want it. He's like, release the Schumacher cut. He's like, people, and then he ends it and he goes, people want more Val Kilmer. And then it cuts. And that's it, man. It's some video that he recorded.
So weird.
Dude, what? That's why I texted Chris, because Chris sent it to me this morning. And I was like, man, what like alternate world are we living in? If you want to, we want to back in time to like 1995, I think, when that movie came out.
Yeah.
And you would have been like, hey, there's a 4-hour cut of this movie. And in the future, Ice Cube's going to be the advocate for promoting this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be like, get out of here.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
No, I meant to send it to you. I apologize. But yeah, it's like a video of him with like a big beard. You can tell he's been like quarantining, and he's like serious. He's like, release the Schumacher cut.
He's got a big beard because he's just been spending that much time trying to write his message for the Schumacher cut. He's like, I'm ready. Let's do this.
I tell you what. You know what we should do is we try to get Bobcat Goldthwait to get Miramax or what? No, it's the Weinstein Company to release the cursed alternate cut. And make a video out of that, right? That's just as weird.
You know what?
Not?
I think we can get him on Cameo. You know what Cameo is? That service.
Yeah,
that's what Ice Cube did it on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did he really? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, then there's no stopping Bobcat Goldthwait from saying the message about.
Wait. So is Cameo where you pay celebrities to?
Yeah.
Stuff.
So this isn't really Ice Cube saying this. This is somebody paying Ice Cube to say this.
Yeah, but it's weird that he would randomly take on this complete random thing, be like,
no, it totally makes sense. They're paying him. He's getting money out of it. So
yeah, but it can't be that much. Like, who is paying Ice Cube that much money to say?
He's probably no joke. He's probably like $150 or $100-$150 to do a message.
I would pay Ice Cube $150 to tell Warner Brothers to release the Batman Forever cut. Why not? Like, that's like saving the world, dude.
Dude, well, I want to get one of Ice Cube talking about releasing the director's cut of Clifford.
No, okay, I just looked it up. He is $750 on Cameo.
Damn.
Really?
Yeah, so somebody paid him
Gosh.
$750 to release the
That's
shit.
pretty
I'm
good.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it started off as a Kickstarter, and they're like, our Kickstarter's plan is to get Ice Cube to get Warner Brothers and AT&T to release the Batman Forever cut, and everyone's like, yeah, here's $15. You know.
Dude, you know what? That bums me out because in my head, Ice Cube was just like, I got to tell somebody about this. And he's
I
like,
know.
world, listen. And then he did his thing. Now it's kind of a bummer.
It is a bummer because like when you sent it to me, it was like mind blowing. I was like, holy
It
shit.
was,
I
man.
was like, Ice
Yeah.
Cube is going to be the advocate for this. This is great. And then now it's like, I kind of know that somebody paid him. It kind of sucks.
It is kind of it's a downfall.
Unfortunately, Bobcat is not available on Cameo, so we won't be
Oh,
able to get it.
bummer.
But
That is a bummer. So chapter 3 of Inglourious Basterds is German Night in Paris. And this is, I believe, this whole chapter is about the lady who owns the cinema, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we basically start off with her and she meets this war hero. She's outside changing the letters to her marquee. And this war hero comes up and approaches her and she wants nothing to do with them. I love the whole dynamic of those two throughout the rest of the movie.
Oh my God, it's so painful to watch, but like, yeah, he's just like very persistent throughout the movie.
He is.
Yeah.
He's trying to be charming. He's trying to be like a nice guy about it. And she was like, I mean, she doesn't say it, but she's pretty much being like, hey, you're a Nazi. I don't want to have anything to do with you. But she like still talks to him though, as like, because she has to like respect him because he's a Nazi.
Yeah.
And she's in their town. So she tells him to go.
They're actually in her town, but you know.
Oh yeah, that's right. But he ends up leaving, and I think the rest of the scene is when she gets picked up, correct? And they go to breakfast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, she gets randomly picked up by a couple of soldiers, and she has no idea where she's going. And she arrives at a restaurant, and it's the war hero. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad you came. I didn't know if you would do it. And you can just tell she's irritated right off the bat. She totally wears her emotions on her face. She's really good in this.
Every single time he pops up on screen, you see like her roll her eyes and be like,
dude, it's how I feel you guys feel when I jump on Zoom to record these.
And then you talk about Ice Cube cameo
For 15 minutes.
Trust me, it's connected to Inglourious Basterds. Just hear me out.
You'll see. And Tarantino has seen Batman Forever, and that's how it ties in together. So she's at this restaurant, and she meets a good group of people. Not like good people.
Yeah,
but like
we know
a good group.
We know your opinions, Chris.
Yeah. I think we're learning a lot about Chris on this podcast.
Apparently, she goes to dinner with the good guys.
So she shows up, and there's a filmmaker there, and
it's Joseph Goebbels. Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit.
Is that
he's a real dude. Yeah, he fucking sucks. That's my F word. That's my F word for this episode.
Oh, okay. So was there a real movie made like this then?
No. He was just like kind of like a Nazi propaganda.
He's in charge of all the propaganda.
He's like their media guy for propaganda, basically.
So I was reading an article recently, a couple of weeks ago actually, about the idea of this movie. All right. So, and this kind of opened it up to me a little bit more. And Tarantino was in an interview and he was talking about like what this movie's supposed to be. And Joseph Goebbels was the.
It just sounds like you're getting ready to say Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh.
And then you just like pushed everything into one. Keep going. I'm sorry.
Pay attention, Chris.
Yeah. It's a history lesson.
But anyways, he was in charge of all the propaganda. So he was in charge of like making this stuff like Triumph of the Will, which was the huge like Nazi movie that got a lot of people onto the Nazi movement.
Yeah.
So in a way, like the Nazis got their success through propaganda. Okay. And in the way this movie works is that the movie kills them with propaganda.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like a movie that's like, and that's kind of like the impression of like the way that the movie is rewriting history at the end. It's kind of killing the Nazi movement by like making like an American propaganda movie.
And it's also putting them in a quote unquote gas chamber at the end in the form of a movie theater by keeping them all confined in one place and killing them all at once.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Like it's a kind of an interesting like breakdown as far as like Goebbels, like so like if you look at that, the bulk of this movie is Goebbels trying to have this movie premiere at the movie theater, and it's going to be the last hurrah for like the Nazi party because they're basically they know they're done for, because they're basically getting invaded. It's June 1944, and he even like I think Hitler says it halfway there towards the end of the movie. He's like, the Americans are on the beach in Normandy and they're coming. So this is the end. So this is the last big hurrah they're going to have at this movie theater. But instead, it's like the movie itself works as a way as like negative propaganda for the Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. Because that's basically, this is when the plot of the movie comes in, is that he made a film with the war hero and they want to show it off somewhere. But the war hero, now that he's smitten with the cinema owner, he wants to have the film shown here or shown at her theater.
Yeah.
And so once that takes place, that's basically like for a movie that didn't really have a plot for the first 45 minutes, hour, this is your plot.
Yeah.
And they're going to have all the Nazis in one theater, and you have two different groups of people that are going to take them down. You have the cinema owner, and then you have the Inglourious Basterds.
And so essentially this is like in the, the typical Tarantino where the paths cross. You're basically getting the path of the bastards and then the path of Shoshana, and they're all about to intersect at this movie theater, basically.
But it's still weird though, because they have no interaction with each other.
Nope, they don't at all.
Not even like passing by on screen.
Like I think each party, they don't know that it's happening at the movie theater. Basically, they're both just It's all
actually, if you think about it, the only people that know what actually happened in that theater of the Bastards are Eli Roth and the other guy, because they see that it's on fire.
Yeah.
Like, so so you could look, so actually no one in history, if this was a real event, would know that the theater was set on fire.
Right.
They would have just thought that the Bastards just showed up and killed everybody.
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally got off topic. Oh, okay. So they're at the breakfast and then Christopher Waltz shows up.
Yeah.
And this scene is awesome too, because he is just the way he kills it in this movie.
Oh yeah. He won best supporting actor for this role.
Yeah. Which I think he went back to back. Didn't he win for Django as well?
I think he won for Django as well, yeah.
Yeah. But this scene, like, and she holds herself so well together because they're basically talking, he's kind of interrogating her, kind of not. And then once he gets up from the table, she just breaks down.
Yeah.
And it's a real cool, like the way she does it, you totally buy that she's been holding in, she's been staying strong. And this is the guy that killed my family. And she just kind of breaks down right there. I think it's a really, really cool scene.
Based on the scene alone, do you think that he knew who she was at all?
I don't think so.
Because one could argue that he knew who she was, but like maybe kind of like let her pass because he's just gonna surrender himself to the US at the end, basically.
It would go with the rest of the theme of the movie of someone trying to trick somebody in, but they already know the game. You know what I mean? They already know what's going on. So it would fit with everybody else.
Yeah.
So I think my notes might be okay. Is there only 5 chapters in this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the next one's the Kino one, right?
Operation Kino.
Operation Kino.
Yeah, where you meet Fassbender. This is where I think
that's what I thought.
Fassbender and Mike Myers.
Mike Myers. So Mike Myers is he's a general. He's a general. Is a general? Okay. Mm-hmm. And he has Michael Fassbender come in, who is a film critic. Yeah. And basically they talk for probably about a good 20 minutes of the mission, pretty much. I hate to say this, but this is probably my least favorite scene in the movie. Mike Myers is cool in it, but I wish they would have done more with Mike Myers' character.
Mm-hmm. I'll agree with you on that. I would like. First time watching this, that was the trouble I had, because I was like, man, like the Inglourious Basterds stuff was so awesome.
Yeah.
And when we get back to those guys, and then we basically get like an hour to an hour and 20 minutes of just nothing but like people that aren't the bastards talking.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like, I remember being so pissed in the movie theater because I was like, the hell, like where are the bastards at? Like it's in the title of the movie, and like we've been watching Shoshana eat
and it's also
croissants for
yeah.
I think what she eat turnover or whatever.
Strudel.
Yeah, she eats a strudel, and I'm just like, I remember being pissed during that scene. And I was like, dude, this is going on too long. Like, where are the bastards? And then we get the Michael Fassbender. And then it's like this huge bar scene that scene goes on for like 25 minutes to 30 minutes long?
I think it's 25 minutes, I think.
Yeah. So it's like, I remember being kind of pissed the first time I saw this movie.
Well,
also, we didn't get any bastards.
I was just going to add, because even the poster itself, I think there's two variants. There's one with like Brad Pitt, like walking towards, the poster.
Yeah. Standing on a body or pile of bodies.
Yeah. And then there's a variant where it's like the baseball bat holding, or like the German helmet, the Nazi helmet's like on the baseball bat. So it's like, okay, like lots of bastard scenes. And,
it should have been a poster for Strudel. And then that would have been like,
no, it should have been a poster for like food. I feel like there's a lot of eating in this movie, and like
a glass of milk and
a glass of milk and just huge, like loud noises, like
that huge Sherlock Holmes pipe.
Yeah.
It should have been a soldier on the front, and he had the card on his forehead from the game they play, and it said Strudel on the card. And you're like, what?
Well, obviously, I'm an apple strudel. Like,
Inglorious apple strudels. So stupid. Don't laugh at that. That was dumb, but man, Hante's tickled over there.
Inglorious apple strudels. So stupid.
That sounds like, it looks like one of those, like if you go to the grocery store and that's how they promote like one of their like their food tie-ins, and it's like the same poster with like the gray sky in the background and red font. And it's like,
and there's like a bear strudel holding a bat.
Yeah.
So Mike Myers pretty much talks to Michael Fassbender, and he's like, all right, here's what's going on. You're going to meet up with this famous actress.
Bridget Van Hammersmark is the actress, basically.
And she's in on it. She's going to give you like the play-by-play. And they're like, okay. So they go and Michael Fassbender and two other soldiers. Is that correct? There's three of them, right?
Well, it's two of them. Yeah. No, it's two bastards accompanying him. It's Hugo Stiglitz.
Oh, yes.
And then one of the other bastards. But they realize when they get there that the tavern is actually in a basement. And then Oliver Reigns is like, his complaint about like, it's a basement. Like,
right.
What's worse than a basement?
So I would say too, at this point, just looking in the background, some of the bastards are dead.
Yeah. Some of them are missing at this point.
Yeah. A good chunk of them. Like, so what we end up seeing at the end of this movie is the two that go with Fassbender, the German born ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which is Stiglitz is one of them. And then BJ Novak's one of them we see at the end.
Paul Rust is in the scene, so he's still alive.
Yeah, and Omar Doom is one of them. I think it's Omar Doom, right?
Yeah, Doom.
Yeah, he's the one with Eli Roth at the end. So
we're missing I think
how many bastards are there? Like 7 or 9, right?
I think 7, I thought.
Well, I didn't assume they died. I just assumed they were just not part of that story.
No, they're dead.
Yeah,
they're definitely dead. I mean, they don't talk about it, but like there's no other reason other than they probably ate it in a fight against the Nazis.
I think it's honestly, there's no proof to whatever happened to them if they're just not in that scene or not.
Yeah.
But I kind of like to think that some of them are dead through their exploits and their adventures from the last time we see him in the movie. Because we see him in the last time we see him in the movie is 1939, right? Or isn't that what they say? It's right before. I don't know. It's sometime before 1944 June. But I'm assuming that and we see them all together in that pit in that bunker, and then when the next time we see him is this room across from the bar, and there's only 3 or 4 of them visible, I think. Which I don't know. I just kind of it's kind of cool if it's cool lore to be some of them died on the way.
Yeah.
But so with this whole bar scene, since it's 3 hours long for this one chapter, I'm going to talk about it in like 2 sentences, and then we can discuss things we like about it. So basically, Michael Fassbender, a couple of the bastards, another guy, meet the actress down in this basement of a tavern. And while they're just sitting there just to meet to talk about the mission, their cover gets blown when another officer or captain, a German officer or captain, comes over, realizes that Fassbender's lying. They get into a tussle. Everybody dies except for the actress. And Brad Pitt shows up and kind of saves her, kind of doesn't, but she gets shot in the leg. That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
That was like the cliff notes of this entire scene.
I was trying. I didn't want to go through the whole thing. But this scene played out so much better than I remembered it, because I remember this being the boring scene.
Oh, wow. Because I remember this being the best scene, even the first time. And I feel like it still holds up. I think it's incredible. It's
really good. I think I was just bored originally because it's coming off the Mike Myers scene.
Yeah.
And it's 15 minutes of him just talking. And then he gets to this, like, all right, cool, what's going to happen? And then it's 25 more minutes of talking. And you're like, phew.
But then they also, like in the scene prior in the that like shack that they're in, you get a tease of the bastards, but then it's like, oh, not the best bastards, like Eli Roth and Brad Pitt, like they are staying behind, whereas the other two are going with Fassbender. So you're like, oh, like we got a hint, that we could get more bastards, but that's not happening, in the scene.
The dialogue in this whole scene is really good. And I was entertained the entire time. And then even when the one gunshot goes off and everybody shoots each other, thing I will say about this movie, Tarantino got really good with plotting out like gun scenes. Like even earlier in the movie, there's a scene where it's like a flashback moment, and Eli Roth turns the corner and he has a gun and he shoots a guy out the window.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It is so like, I don't know. If you watch like Reservoir Dogs with his like shooting and stuff like that, it's like basic. With this, it's like, I don't know. It's very cinematic. I'll put it that way.
Very surprising every single time. Like out of nowhere, basically.
Dude, it's almost goofy too, because everybody shoots each other. And then the guy from SLC Punk has that knife and he's like stabbing the guy in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Dude,
it's
is
crazy.
so brutal.
If you play the scene slowly, you can see like all the crazy stuff that happens, because he shoots the guy that catches Fassbender in the lie, basically. He shoots his balls off first, and then it cuts to other stuff happening. And then when it comes back, you just see the guy's head on the table, and he's just like stabbing the hell out of his neck. And then later on, after the aftermath of the scene, you see that guy's body slumped over on the table, and he's just got the knife sticking out of his neck, basically.
It's
crazy.
Dude, it's so ridiculous that I think it's supposed to be intentionally funny.
It's like, I mean,
it's so insane.
It is absurd. There's a lot of stuff going on. Matt, what were you gonna say though?
I was gonna say this is where Tarantino started using like
the exploding
just
blobs
body.
Blobs.
Like he started doing like just like dummies.
Yeah,
I feel
dude.
Like this has there's several dummy kills in this movie, and then he does it again in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He does in Hateful Eight for sure.
Yeah, Hateful Eight. But
speaking of him using dummies and stuff like that, it's on the same topic, but like the special effects. Is Greg Nicotero in this?
Yes.
No. Yeah, he is, and he did the special effects for the specifically the scalping scenes, because going back to the podcast episode, Paul Russ talks about how they had to undergo scalp training for dummies, basically.
Interesting. Okay.
Like how to properly scalp a dummy for some of the scenes.
Interesting. Do you know which part I'm talking about with Nicotero?
Yeah, he sticks his fist into his mouth.
Yeah, do you remember?
Is that him?
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, it's so quick, but I was like, that's definitely got to be him.
That's cool.
I didn't know he actually used him for the special effects, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna bring up too, like, okay, one of the things to this Nazi captain that kind of starts to figure out Fassbender.
Yeah.
He knows who Hugo Stiglitz is.
Yeah.
Like he knows going in. Like that's why he keeps slapping him on the chest, and that he knows who he is.
Yeah.
Because they say in the beginning of the movie when they introduce Hugo Stiglitz, Brad Pitt's talking to that guy they're about to beat to death with a bat, And he's like, do you know who that is? And he's like, yeah. He's like, everybody knows who Hugo Stiglitz is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of like the giveaway is that like, yeah, everybody knows who he is. So
And also
when Hugo Stiglitz shows up, the captain immediately knows like, oh yeah, this is Hugo Stiglitz.
Oh,
this
you
is
think
a
so?
setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
I
when
think-
Christoph Waltz shows up and finds Hugo Stiglitz's body. He's like, oh, he's like, you ranked up in the world. Like, so everyone knows who this dude looks like. So just seeing him is the giveaway that these guys are all not German soldiers.
Yeah.
I can see
it was
that.
Yeah, and like especially because he's like a high profile former Nazi, I guess, because he had killed like something like 12 high class or high ranking SS Gestapo like officers. And they basically didn't execute him. They kept him prisoner and tortured him just to teach a lesson to like the other people, you know, if like you were to betray, this is what happens to you. So like everyone definitely knows who he is, because there's even in that flashback scene, there's like even a newspaper with his like mug, you know, like this
is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, this whole scene ends with pretty much. Do you anything else to add about this scene? This 45 minutes.
No, it's an awesome scene. I think in retrospect, I end up really, really liking it. But yeah, I was on that like annoyed train the first time I watched this movie when I was like, where are the bastards? Why are we still in this bar?
Yeah, because you've gone from Strudel to Mike Myers to a bar talking scene, and you're like,
talking about
where's Brad Pitt? And
yeah.
you're like, yeah. And it totally makes sense. I mean, going into it the first time I watched it and being like, this is what I expected. I don't like this. And then seeing it and being like, okay, I know what to expect this time. Kind of the same way with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I watched that movie 3 times in like 4 months. And the first time I saw it, like I hated it. I was like, this is one of his worst.
I remember you talking about on the podcast that you did not like this movie.
And then for some reason I watched it 2 more times and I was like, this is top tier Tarantino. Like that movie is
great.
Perfect.
It's great. Yeah. It's really good.
But so at the end of the scene, they rescue Diane Kruger and the bastards do.
Yeah.
And basically she tells them, hey, we just found out that they are going to have the world premiere of this movie at this lady's cinema and Hitler's going to be in attendance.
Yeah. Hitler's
so
there.
We need to figure out something. So their whole plan is that Brad Pitt and a couple of other bastards who pretend like they're Italians who work
Italian
we
filmmakers.
work with her. Yeah.
Italian filmmakers.
Which the comedy in this next act is awesome because that's pretty much the way this chapter ends, like right here. And then the last chapter is Revenge of the Giant Face.
Yeah.
And it's basically the movie premiere. Like this is it. This is like the big climax of the movie. And I think I paused it at this point and there was like 45 minutes left in this movie. And I feel like this last 45 minutes of this movie is on point.
Yeah.
Because it starts off so strong. Like this, her getting ready and listening to David Bowie. Not that she like listens to David Bowie. She's like, oh, put that Cat's Eye vinyl. Not Cat's Eye.
Let's
Cat
Dance.
People. Yeah. No, it's a song from Cat People.
Yeah, I think it's from Cat People.
She ends up playing that, and it's all about her like getting ready and making this short film. It's during this montage, right?
Yeah.
Her making the short film.
Yeah.
And it's just cool. It's a really cool anthem scene, and it's a great use of that song. And I love this. And then it cuts to the premiere of like the big movie. And this is when everybody's kind of coming to fruition. Brad Pitt and Eli Roth. And what's the other guy's name?
Omar Doom.
Yeah, Omar Doom. It's just Private Omar, or Omer is the character name. But yeah, it's Omar Doom is the actor's name.
I feel like he doesn't have much to do in this movie until this scene. Because he's totally just a background character. Yeah. And him and Eli Roth, their chemistry is awesome in this. I feel like I really like watching
this guy's used properly because when they're coming up with the plan about posing as the Italian filmmakers, you know, Brad Pitt's like, I speak the best Italian, so I'm gonna be number one, you know, and then Donnie speaks the second best, and then Omar speaks the third. He's like, I don't speak Italian. And then it's
like, that's why you're third.
He's like, I don't speak Italian. He's like, but yeah, it's used perfectly in the next scene because it's like the reverse. Like Brad Pitt is obviously the worst at speaking Italian because he has to keep saying it over and over. And then Eli Roth is second best, and when it gets to the third Omar, like he's like perfecto. Like
yeah, I didn't put that together. It is totally
it's great. It's awesome.
Yeah, and like these two work together in Death Proof.
Yeah, he's one of the guys.
Yeah,
in the bar.
Him and Eli Roth are the two that are trying to woo the first group of girls.
The reason I remember him is he has a spider web tattoo on his elbow.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that. But yeah, so just because this whole scene kind of jumps around a little bit at first. The Bastards and Diane Kruger run into Christoph Waltz, and Christoph Waltz is pretty much grilling them. Dude, okay, so this is probably the biggest laugh I got out of this movie.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Is when Diane Kruger is sitting there and she's talking about her leg that she got shot in, and now she's got a cast. And Christoph Waltz is like, what happened to your leg? And she was like, oh, you won't ever believe it. It happened during mountain climbing.
Yeah.
And then he just loses it and he won't stop laughing. And if you cut to Eli Roth kind of like is watching, like, it's really great reaction.
I took that as, because at this point he already knows that she was in the bar.
Yeah.
And I took this as like he's laughing because it's such a stupid excuse as to why her legs are in the cast that he's just like, this is like the dumbest thing.
Oh yeah, because he and then he asked her, he's like, when did this happen? She's like, oh, yesterday. And she's like, oh, really? He's like, what mountain in France did you climb? And she's like, yeah. And then when he's asking everybody's names and he gets to Omar Doom, he says bravo, like it was like a performance. He's like, bravo.
Yeah, bravo.
Like, good job.
Yeah, because it's like Corlami, and then it's the Margrethe, and then it's Dominic de Coco. He's like, bravo.
And he's like, he's like, good job. Like, he basically is like, he's saying like good performance. Like,
it's so good.
So Christoph Waltz takes Diane Kruger and says, can I speak to you for a minute? And they go into a private room. And
this is where you get your primo Quentin Tarantino foot shot.
Exactly.
The signature Quentin Tarantino right here.
It's a really cool scene because I totally forgotten what happened. I remember she died, but I couldn't remember what happened. And he pretty much tells her, like, hey, reach into my coat and you'll know it when you feel it. And it's her shoe from the bar from the night before. And the way he just like jumps at her and like kills her, it's really intense.
It's crazy. I'll tell you what,
her face, I buy this. This looks like she's really getting choked.
So she was really getting choked.
Oh my god!
Yeah, by Quentin Tarantino because Christoph Waltz was doing it wrong.
Oh,
and he like I want to say he choked her like to the point of passing out.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I believe it.
But I think she was like fine with it. I think it was one of those weird like it helps my acting or whatever.
Method acting.
I don't know. I don't know the story on it, but that's all. I remember hearing that a while ago.
And speaking of Quentin Tarantino, he's in the previous scene at in the woods. I think he's the one that's getting scalped.
The first one.
The first guy that's getting scalped.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's the soldier, the dead soldier.
Okay.
What are you gonna say, Matt?
Okay, why does he kill her?
That's what I was wondering. Because it's like
there's a couple weird things here at the end.
Because if
I think he kills her because he knows that she's working with the Bastards. I mean,
yeah, but he ends up working with the Bastards because he's going to betray Hitler and Goebbels and the rest of the Nazis that are in the theater. So it's like
it feels like he kills her out of more of a
aggravation. Just because he's like annoyed by I guess her being betrayed. I guess even though he's literally about to betray them. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. But after her death, they have Brad Pitt captured.
Yeah,
and now just focusing on the movie theater itself, you do kind of have this like comedic element of
the last two standing, basically.
Yeah. It's great because they go to their seats and then it's revealed that they have sticks of dynamite strapped to their ankles.
Yeah.
And I love this because Eli Roth goes off by himself, sees Hitler, he comes back to get the other one. He's like trying to get his attention. He's like, hey. And then like it's very slapstick and it works really well in the scene.
Excuse me.
And then he like slips and like falls. But this scene is awesome because they end up going to the bathroom and they put like these pistols in their arms.
Yeah.
And when they go to the two soldiers that are guarding like Hitler's seat
like
area,
the box office base or the box seats basically,
the balcony or whatever you want to call it, they like punch shoot these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
I was wondering if these were actually like real things that like either spies use or like an assassin would use. And
Okay.
it might be, but yeah, it's like basically like a device to assassinate people, it seems like. And
Yeah.
that's what they do in order to get access to the box seats or the.
And of course, all the gunfire in the movie is covered up because they're watching a movie where there's nothing but gunfire.
It's literally just gunfire. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but that movie, there's actually a version that you can watch. Then is it Nation's Pride? Yeah. And it's actually directed by Eli Roth.
Okay, I do remember hearing that. Yeah. Which I think that's cool that Tarantino did that. To kind of like, hey, I don't know why he did it specifically, but I just assumed he did it so it didn't look like Tarantino was directing the movie within the movie. It looked like somebody else was actually directing it.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it's Bo Svevenson, right? Who's in the original Inglourious Basterds. He's like the American general that's in the movie.
Interesting. I didn't catch that. Is he the American like general that's in the movie or whatever?
Okay. And it's Tarantino's voice who asks him like, "Hey, we've got to take that tower." And
okay.
Speaking of, I won't get to it because it happens in like 15 minutes. But did you catch Harvey Keitel's cameo?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's on the radio.
I never saw that before.
Oh, really?
I heard that. Yeah. Okay, so to go back to this scene though, so they're busting in to go kill Hitler. But pause, because we've also got this other story going on with the cinema owner and her boyfriend. And she's basically, they don't want her boyfriend, who's the projectionist, to run the movie because he's black. So they're like, even Christoph Waltz, like, I'm sure he's really, or no, somebody says, like, I'm sure he's really good, but we want you to run it, not him.
Yeah.
So they're up in the projectionist booth. They give a kiss to each other goodbye because they know they're never going to see each other again.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to shoot holes in this, but go ahead, keep going. Not with what you're saying, but the movie itself.
And then some of the coolest shots of the movie are of her boyfriend when he goes behind the cinema screen.
Dude,
and there's
awesome.
the piles of film. Like, that shot is gorgeous looking. It's
really,
so
really
cinematic. It's such a cool.
good.
But Matt, go ahead and shoot holes in this movie.
Why do they know that they're gonna die?
Maybe it's just like the plan is so far-fetched that they're expecting maybe on the way out that somebody would catch them, or as they're escaping maybe it's not going to work.
He locks her in and he's like,
no, she's in the box. They only lock the doors to the actual theater itself.
No, they lock the whole thing up.
Oh,
they lock the whole theater up, and he goes out to the back alley and goes to a side door to go behind the theater to light the nitrate film, right?
Okay.
So my I was watching this time and I was like, okay, she's got it. Her little movie she made is spliced into this fourth reel, right?
Yeah.
As soon as she plays that fourth reel, like, why couldn't she just leave, go with him behind the theater, light the nitrate film,
like together,
and then both of them book it? Like, why is she staying around to die?
I feel like
my guess. Oh, good.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I feel like that may have been the plan, but then they got interrupted by Frederick Solar.
Which is possible. It could have just been an emotional kiss, and then like,
okay,
but,
and that was.
But also, maybe I'm just playing theories here, but maybe they knew that no matter what, if it worked and they got free, they would be tied to it, and so someone would find them.
Yeah.
And then if it didn't work, her face was just plastered, and they just tried to kill everybody. So like, I think they kind of knew, like, hey, at some avenue, we're not going to.
Yeah, I guess I'm just saying. Like, it seems like an easy escape.
Yeah, it is pretty tough. Yeah, I don't really.
Because like they could be behind the theater waiting for the movie to the video that the film she made to show up and be like, all right, now we can leave.
Mm-hmm.
And they make a mention at it showing that he locks every single door, so he locks her in.
Okay.
Like into the theater, and then when he locks it all up, he goes behind the theater. Goes to the alley, opens a back door, gets into behind the theater screen to light the nitrate film. So if anything, he escapes at the end of this movie.
That's
all he's got to do is light the nitrate film and run. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, what the hell is she doing up in the projection booth?
Right.
Like after she loads the fourth film reel, what she does before what's his name shows up, she should have just got the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I'll give it to you. Yeah. I mean, they definitely poked some holes in it for sure. But yeah,
I don't know. It's not terrible.
you're-
It doesn't ruin the movie for
no,
me. But it was just,
I guess
this is a movie podcast. We have discussions, and I enjoyed that.
I just couldn't get it out of my head watching it this time. I was like, yeah, why can't she just leave? Like,
to get out. Yeah.
I was like, but I almost feel like it's like there's too much attention made to how they got a 35 millimeter film developed, and not enough attention to like, hey, she can just leave, right? Like,
yeah. But regardless, she doesn't make it out of it because the war hero shows up to the projectionist booth. She tells him to go away. He gets very aggressive, and then she ends up kind of like tricking him and then shooting him, which nobody hears because they're watching the movie.
Yeah.
And she kind of has sympathy for him after she kills him.
I think it's his powerful acting in the movie when
that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
He's really good.
Yeah, it's like, I could.
Or he was really good.
Yeah, I think I could have life with this guy.
But he ends up getting a couple shots into her and killing her. And then seconds later, this is when the film goes off that she made with her boyfriend. It's basically just her head, kind of Wizard of Ozzy. And it's basically her just telling the crowd, like, hey, this is my revenge. You're all going to die.
Yeah.
And then the film gets set in fire, pure chaos. Eli Roth is shooting Hitler's head into it is insane.
And Swiss cheese.
I remember when I saw this in theater, everyone was like, what is going on right now?
Dude, it is ridiculous the way it happens. It's so like,
and it's like very clearly like a latex mask that's like,
like it
looks like that dude from Taxi Driver when he gets when Robert De Niro has that sleeve gun and shoots like out of the face.
Yeah.
Like stretching his face a bunch, basically.
Well, I'll tell you what, in this scene too, and I feel like I could speak for like 99% of the people that watch this movie. You're watching this and you're like, oh man, this is a great movie, but you know they're not going to succeed because of history.
Yeah.
And then this happens and you're kind of like, oh man, we're going for this. Like, and
and then they did the same exact thing essentially in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with the Manson cult. We're like, whoa, they're actually just going for it in this scene. You know?
But I feel like we've argued this. I feel like it works better in this one because you have such a well-known story.
Yeah.
And then I know we discussed with Hollywood that it's kind of a lesser known story in comparison. But yeah, they pretty much shoot up the theater. Everybody dies. Eli Roth and the other bastard blow up, and they win. So meanwhile, we got to Brad Pitt, who's still captured with BJ Novak, which I don't think he speaks anything up until this scene.
I think it's up until this scene. I think
and Christoph Waltz pretty much talks to both of them and says, "Hey, I'm going to turn myself in. I'm going to make it look like I was with you guys and I was part of the
Operation Kino,
theater."
Operation Kino, and make sure, I get the Congressional Medal of Honor, and then make sure you all get rewards too, or awards, for your.
Dude, when he's on the phone. Oh, good.
No, go ahead. When he's on the phone, what?
When he's on the phone and he's talking about like all his demands and everything.
Yeah.
And he gets quiet and he's like, no, he's like, I can't. He's like, I'm looking forward to meeting you too. Just because you could tell whoever was like listening was like, you're ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Matt. What were you saying?
I feel like there's like a moment where they call him the Jew hunter, right?
Yeah.
And there's this moment where he kind of feels like he hates that title because he's like, I'm a detective. I find people. That's what I find. He's like, I don't like the moniker that he gets.
Yeah.
And I wanted to talk about for a second. There's a lot of monikers in this movie, right?
Almost everybody, I feel like, has.
Everyone has like a second name, like Aldo the Apache, the Jew hunter, the Bear Jew,
little guy,
little man,
little man, even like Shoshana. You could say Shoshana's like moniker is was it Mimu Duro? I can't remember her theater name, whatever.
Okay.
But a lot of people hide under monikers in this movie. I wanted to talk to you guys about that.
That's pretty cool. I didn't really think about it that way. But
everybody has anything to say?
I think it's just everybody's playing. Everybody's undercover. Everybody's trying to.
I'm trying to think if there's any other names that were like throughout the movie. If there was like any more that had like nicknames. But I guess it's like in a way, it's almost like it's playing off of a movie where these people are the actors, and it's like their stage name is like whatever part they're playing in their overall mission to,
Okay.
I could see it be
Yeah.
more like that. Yeah, I dig that. I don't have to throw as much into it, but I could see just Tarantino wanting to give like people like cool like mission names and stuff like that.
Okay.
In that sense, like Little Boy. I know that's not his name. I wish it would have been like Little Boy.
The little man.
Yeah, his little man.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, this is like the final scene of the movie is Brad Pitt and BJ Novak taking Christoph Waltz and one of his officers, and they're pretty much going to take them in to America. And Christoph Waltz is going to be this great guy who did it.
Yeah.
But Brad Pitt changes his mind. I don't even think Brad Pitt changes his mind. I think Brad Pitt knew what he was going to do the entire time.
Yeah, he knew.
Yeah. Oh man, he has like the best line. I think it's in this scene, where he's like, "You're gonna get in a lot of trouble for this." It's like maybe getting chewed out. It's like, and I've been chewed out before. But the way he says it is like
I've been
the best
chewed out
line.
That's the best line in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like clearly, he's like, I literally don't care. Like I've been chewed out before,
But he ends up killing the officer, and then
he's
gonna take Christopher Waltz. He's gonna take Christoph Waltz over. He's not gonna kill him.
Yeah.
But he's gonna carve the Nazi symbol on his head so he doesn't forget, which is super graphic.
He essentially does the same kind of speech he gives to the other German soldiers. Like, what are you gonna do when you go back, home or whatever? I'm gonna kiss my mother. And he's like, well, what about the uniform? Are you gonna plan on taking it off? He's like, yeah, I'll make sure I burn it. He's like, yeah, we thought that you'd say that.
Yeah, that's not enough.
And so that's essentially when Christoph Waltz says essentially the same thing, where it's like, I'd take this uniform off. He's like, yeah, we're afraid you're gonna say that.
Yeah. And after Brad Pitt cuts into his forehead, he's like, I can't wait till the last line. It's a masterpiece, or what does he say?
He's like, sir, you're getting pretty good at that. He's like, yeah, consider this my masterpiece.
Yeah. And then it cuts Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
So Inglourious Basterds, 2009. I sometimes when we go through these movies, like I said, we've had a really good run of movies this year that we know are good. And sometimes we just speed through this at the end. It has an 89% Rotten Tomatoes. I'll stick with an 89. I think it's an 89% movie.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's, What about you, Hanto?
Probably like 92.
92?
Yeah, 92.
Okay.
Yeah.
Matt?
I will say, after the first viewing, I said my aggravation while watching this the first time. This is one of those movies after I got finished watching it, I really it just stuck with me. I really enjoyed it, and it stuck with me. I would say this is like a 95% for me.
Really? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and even though it is quote unquote bottom tier Tarantino for me. I mean, bottom tier for Tarantino in general is still awesome. So real quickly, we don't really have to like get into detail with it, but let's talk about our 3 favorite Tarantinos. Okay. Because we'll do this again in a year because I'm sure it'll change again in a year.
It's going to change depending on how I feel because it's hard to it's just really hard to pick a top 3 for me.
Well, I feel like it always changes. Like, okay, so I'm pretty sure I'll just go through mine real quick. I feel like Jackie Brown's always been my favorite. There's something about that movie, that soundtrack, the cast, awesome movie.
Yeah.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would be my second, and then Django would be my third. So, what about you, Hanto?
I would say probably this is up here, Inglourious Basterds.
That's your one?
Yeah, I think it's up there for sure.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it is. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then I would just say probably Pulp Fiction because that's like really what put him on the map for me.
Yeah.
The bottom, since you talked about your bottom, not your butt, but like the bottom, but I would say Reservoir Dogs is probably my least favorite.
Really?
That's insane. Yeah. Not to like go into too much talk about it. I rewatched it a few months ago. Man, I might even put that as my 4th. That movie is so good. Like I used to think it was okay.
Something about it. Yeah, just doesn't resonate with me for some reason.
Doesn't Reservoir with you?
Exactly. I knew you were gonna say it because it's you.
Yeah. Matt, what do you got, dude?
I'm gonna cheat. All right. So I'm gonna cheat.
I'm gonna pick all of them are my top 3.
I'm
This
cheating.
is hey, this is directors only, by the way.
We didn't say that, so I'm cheating.
I just did.
Oh
I
shit!
just did.
Are we doing that now? Oh man,
Yeah,
I
we're
didn't
not
know we're
throwing-
doing
no one
that.
said director. You said Tarantino
I just
movies.
did. I just did
Yeah.
say director.
You didn't say
Yeah.
director.
I
You
just
said
did
it after the fact. So
After
I
what
would
fact?
say my top 3. I'm gonna go with from 3 to 1, Inglourious Basterds. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is ironic. That's all of our second favorites. And I'm gonna say True Romance is my favorite Tarantino movie.
I'm not going to count it, but
But if True Romance,
I would count it.
if True Romance hadn't been on there, I would probably say Jackie Brown would be on my top 3.
really,
And I think Django would be there if there and I know there exists of it, but it's not out, is the extended cut of that movie. I feel like that movie needs to be longer than what it ended up being. And I think like what we kind of got was it's not a terrible movie, or like I don't hate it or anything. I think it's an awesome movie, but I think his wife, Washington.
Kerry Washington.
Kerry Washington.
Yeah, Kerry Washington is one of the. I think she's a phenomenal actress, but I think it's one of the more shallower Tarantino characters because a huge chunk of that movie is her backstory that's missing.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a whole chunk of like supposedly of like her backstory while Django's off doing his thing. There's her stuff. I guess I'm assuming they filmed it and it got dropped for time constraints.
Okay.
So I would love to see that. And I feel like if I get to see all that stuff, I feel like Django Unchained would push out Inglourious Basterds.
Okay. So go in order again. You put True Romance as 1. Okay. So technically your top 1 is Hollywood, right?
Yeah, top 1 would
Director.
probably be Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I do love True Romance. That is one of my favorites as well. But then I feel like in that category, you could put like Natural Born Killers in your top 3, or you could put. He's tied to it, but is it really his movie?
I feel like throwing those in there because then it like you're not talking about 9 movies, you're talking about 12.
Like just
I think, right?
Yeah.
He was a uncredited script doctor for Crimson Tide. Does that count? Can I put that on my list?
I don't know.
It's Matt's rules.
Nah, it's Untitled. He's unnamed.
He was a video presenter for From Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter. Does that count too?
Oh yeah, sure, dude. Your favorite movie. Well, no, because then it's like you could throw 4 Rooms in there.
Yeah,
but
because he actually directed a segment, didn't he?
He did a segment 4 Rooms.
Okay. Didn't they have like a Tarantino Presents Dracula 2000?
I feel like there was, because there's also a Iron Monkey with the martial arts.
There was Tarantino Presents Hero.
Yeah. So does that count too? Can I put that on my list?
No.
Okay, cool.
I feel like
Matt's rules.
Okay, I'll say this.
The house always wins.
I feel like here's the rule with it. Tarantino had to have written like 95% of it.
Okay.
So saying that, then it's like you can do From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah, I feel like True Romance deserves to be on there because it's like his work. Not
and it's like not far off. Like it's not like it's like
the dialogue and like the overall like characters in the story of True Romance is typical.
Yeah,
Quentin
like Natural
Tarantino.
Born Killers is like you watch it and you're like, oh, Tarantino did this. Like he wrote this. Like it doesn't feel like a Tarantino movie at all.
I think Tarantino only got story credit for Natural Born Killers.
Yeah, I think it was
I don't think they used a screenplay. They like based it, then made it their own
story. Screenplay was From Dusk Till Dawn, and then written by for True Romance.
Yeah, but I feel like if you want to get to that, then like if you were going to rank your Spielberg movies, would you put Gremlins in there?
Yeah, I'd probably throw Goonies in there. Well, that's the thing. It depends because it's like that's what I mean by writer. And if you say 95% written, then you can't count.
But
all
he didn't write
movies.
those. He produced them though.
But if you do that with Spielberg, the only movies Spielberg has written are movies that he's not directed. So it's like Gremlins, Goonies, Poltergeist. Like none of those are Spielberg movies,
Why not?
So you couldn't count
them. He produced them.
Yeah, but I know if we're gonna talk about like the best Spielberg produced movies, then yeah, sure.
Okay, so if we're talking about the best Tarantino written movies, then we could have like then True Romance would count.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Can we do like he directed an episode of CSI crime scene investigation? Does that count too?
Yeah, he also did an episode of ER.
Did he write it?
That is my number one.
Did he write him?
He did the story and he directed it.
Did he write it though?
Teleplay by I don't know.
I mean, if he wrote it, then that could count, but it's also, we also said movies, Tarantino written movies. So.
Man, I don't like your game. Count me out.
Because I proved both of you wrong on it. Like,
whatever.
Whatever you threw at me didn't work.
We should do I say that I feel like every episode we go like, we should do a future episode on, but we should do True Romance at some point. I would definitely like to tackle that.
I honestly want to do Reservoir Dogs now because I want to hear what Honto has to say about it.
Oh, that would be cool, actually. I'll give you that.
Yeah. But I will do True Romance as well.
I would love to do Grindhouse. I would flourish.
So we can do we can do a themed month of Quentin Tarantino with Matt's rules. Whatever he wants. Anything goes.
We'll call it Matt presents, Quentin Tarantino presents. Matt presents.
Got him.
Video presenter.
Wow. Perfect.
We'll open up the episode with a video intro by Matt talking about, hey, welcome to CinemaCult. Hey,
this movie.
All right.
Okay.
All right. That's gonna wrap up Inglourious Basterds. We still don't have a title for this month. Do we have anything? Do we have any idea where? I told Matt we should call this month. Matt thinks it's stupid, but this month should be called.
It's stupid. Go ahead.
It should be stand. It should be stand for something or fall for nothing month.
What does that even mean?
It's right, man. It gets people thinking, and people were like, "Man, every movie we're watching is about people who stand for something." And
I told him it sounds like a genre of movies where it's about a principal that comes to high school that's like really like tough, and he's got to switch him around and get him to like education.
Okay. Repeat again. What is your title for this?
Stand for something or fall for nothing.
That sounds like either what Matt said, like a principal movie, or it sounds like the next Bond movie.
Oh wow, that's really cool. That does sound like a Bond movie.
Cool. So when we do Bond month, we'll call it.
We save that title for that month.
I don't even think that would fit in the YouTube title. I think they'd be like, you're out of space. It would just be stand for something. You're like, what? Like
stand for something.
Stand for something.
Stanford something.
We'll call it Stanford
something.
These people definitely didn't go to Stanford.
These are all just war movies. It's war films.
Yeah, it's war.
It's battle. War. It's battle.
Or combat movies. I think one of you guys said that a couple weeks ago.
I think you said that last week.
No, I didn't because I didn't want to.
No, you said war is hell, right? War is hell.
Yeah, war is hell.
War is hell. This show is hell. How about that?
But all those movies that we picked, like war really isn't in hell in any of these movies. Like,
oh yeah.
Really don't get the war aesthetic correct in any of these movies.
So
according to real life.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, sorry to cut you off. So to wrap up Inglourious Basterds, our next episode will be a listener request. What's the movie called?
I think it's just called The Beast.
The Beast. Okay. And
That's
it's based on
war.
I think there's like the alternate title is also The Beast of War.
Okay.
But it's available on Amazon Prime.
It is.
If you want to watch, yeah.
Is it based on the R.L. Stine book? The Beast? No? Okay.
Chris, you're embarrassing us in front of our listener request.
Sorry, guys.
Stop.
Sorry, if you're listening, Chris is drunk and his shirt's off. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'm lying.
Yeah.
Depending on your media platform. So that's going to be our next episode. We've never seen it, but it's got Jason Patrick, so I'm sure it'll be pretty decent. I feel like.
Hey, Honto. What? You want to hear something that I found out?
I don't want to hear this. Can we just wrap up the episode?
Okay, we'll leave on this. I'll save it for next week.
No, tell me now.
No,
you tell me now.
It's going to be like one of those things where you're like, oh, really? But we'll save it for next week.
Just say
No. We'll leave it for the viewers too. If you're interested in what Matt's going to say, then tune in next week and I'll tell you the little trivia.
Wow.
But go ahead, Chris, finish it out.
If you have any requests or any suggestions, you can hit us up on Facebook or you can email us at
CinemaCultPodcast@gmail.com.
And as always, thank you so much for listening. We love doing this. We hope you love listening to it. I'm Chris.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Honto.
And we'll see you next time.